First, I want to start with chip stocks.
Okay.
So we talked about chip stocks early on in the show. AMD, Nvidia, all of these different stocks that a lot of people say they call for a chip bubble last year. They said that it was artificial intelligence was overrated. It was hyped up. But we're still seeing gains going into 2025, and people are still optimistic. ASML up big this year, up big so far this year. So, what is your take on chip stocks?
Well, they're a really big part of the market now. These are some of the largest publicly traded companies by market cap. So, for your viewers who are broadly invested in stocks, whether they're in mutual funds or ETFs, if they have any kind of growth weightings in those ETFs or any kind of tech weightings, they have tons of exposure to these stocks one way or the other. And then, of course, they're very popular trading stocks. So, a lot of people own them on their own. I think a couple of things are worth being said here. People could be right about the long term of AI and how important it becomes to the economy and society and the world. But that doesn't mean the companies that are at the forefront of AI technology are going to have share prices that go up every day. It's just if it were that easy, then anybody could be a professional money manager. Just AI, I'll just buy all the chip stocks. So I think there'll be rallies and I think there'll be sell-offs just like last year. People forget there was a moment in August and September last year where Nvidia was in a 24% drawdown from its high.
Yep.
It didn't last long, but let's not act like it didn't happen. That certainly could happen this year. And if you're in that stock for as long as I've been, which 2015, so if you're in the stock as long as I've been, you've sat through 30% declines on
Drawdowns,
a
yes.
fairly regular basis. And it's not that Nvidia is not everything they say it is. It is the leader. It is the best company in the market. Last year, I think the full year return was like 178%. That's incredible when you consider that it's a multi-trillion-dollar company. So I'm a bull. I will tell you, one of the big landmines for this coming year that I'm thinking about is the possibility that at some point, hasn't happened in a while, at some point they have an earnings report where people get nervous that we've seen the best that you could possibly see. They're going to report on February either 25th or 26th. The 25th is my birthday. So let's hope if it's a disappointment, it's not on February 25th. But this is a really big report. This is what Wall Street is focused on. Nvidia is not only an important weighting in all these indices, the earnings growth coming from Nvidia is a large portion of the overall S&P 500's earnings growth that we expect for this year. So we need this company to continue to perform.
Yeah.
There's a phenomenon, though, on the street that, and this is actually universally important, guys. There's no such thing as good news or bad news. There's no good or bad on Wall Street. There's only better than expected or worse than expected.
Worse. Yep.
So there's a scenario where Nvidia grows 40-50% in earnings this year, but the street wanted 50-60%, and that's not good enough, and you get a huge sell-off in the stock. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with the company, because all this is an expectations game. And what's different about this game versus betting on sports, if you watch the Detroit Lions Minnesota Vikings game last night, with sports, you know what the odds are. The market, they don't tell you the odds. So we know that there are expectations embedded for Nvidia to have a great report. We sort of have a rough idea of what those expectations are in the form of an earnings estimate from the consensus of Wall Street analysts who cover the stock, but we don't know where sentiment is. We don't know how badly people need that number to be materially higher. We can assume. So that's, to me, if you ask me, like, what are some of the biggest things coming up in the next couple of months that we really need to be focused on and then are going to have a big impact? Chip stocks in general, yes, but really it's the Nvidia show, and all the other chip stocks are like the opening acts.